Mr. Mittal, let me put a different question to you. I obviously won't put that because that plays straight to your bat. I'm going to say that despite the jugaad and the ingenuity of the Indian people, which I concede in some ways has undermined your planning, there are several things your government could have done but didn't do. For instance, you could have ensured that the new 2,000 and 500 rupee notes were available before demonetization happened. You could have increased the supply of 100 rupee notes so that their circulation itself would have eased people's concern. 3, you could have ensured that the 2,000 rupee note was the same size as the 1,000 so that ATM machines either didn't have to be recalibrated or the recalibration happened very easily. And finally, even though you had 36 hours notice to set the banks up, you failed to ensure that they created 3 clear lines, one for exchange, one for deposit, one for withdrawal. If those simple things had been done, life would have been easier. And they weren't done because someone didn't think through the problem in advance.
Karanji, I do not agree with what you've just said. And I'll give you the reasons for that. But first and foremost, the most critical part of this entire exercise was secrecy. Now, in any case, if the secrecy was compromised, then the entire exercise would have been futile. And the first 2 measures you talked about, that 2,000 note circulation should have been increased or new 500 rupee notes should have been sent in advance, these 2 would have surely given everybody the idea about the demonetization of the 500 and 1,000 notes.
Why? So please explain that. No, pause. Please explain why.
The surprise element.
Mittal Saab, explain your point. I'm disputing you there. If the 2,000 and the 500 had been introduced, say 6 weeks before the demonetization happened, why would it have given the game away? Why would people have jumped to that conclusion?
For the simple reason that the 500 rupee note, if a new note is coming which will be valid and the old will not be valid, you could not have done that. You could not have distinguished between one printed set of notes and the other printed set of notes.
You could, sir. Quite often new notes are introduced while the old style note, the old design continues to be valid. That's how it happens always. You could have done it here too.
Sir, the new notes, if that would have been the reason, the entire currency would have got changed into those new notes. So the secrecy element and the surprise element is also critical. Sir. The surprise element is critical. You did not want to give any window for people to manipulate and defeat the system and the purpose. These were sure actions of how the system could have been defeated. Secondly, you talked about the ATM and the recalibrate. You said 2,000 notes should have been on the same side. So if I understand the security of notes, no 2 denomination notes I have seen being of the same size.
Forgive me, in America every single dollar note is the same size, from the $1 note to the $100 note. And don't tell me that America is an insecure country as far as their currency is concerned. Every single note in America is the same size. It could have been done here.
Karanji, we are talking about India and we are talking about a unique situation where we have such hostile neighbors whose primary job is to print fake currency.
Saab, you're very good at coming up with explanations on the spur of the moment to justify an argument, but I have to point out to you that America is as concerned, if not more, with the security of their currency. But let me bring it...
Somebody who's going to the bank for exchange also has a bank account where he can withdraw 24,000 rupees at one go, or 24,000 rupees per week. So while exchange of 4,500 is limited, there is a limit of 24,000 rupee withdrawal also, which is available to anybody. So the concern of the people at the lower end of the spectrum, for whom this money is very, very critical, has been addressed to. So while, as I said, you see, when a child is born, there are labor pains, there are problems which people are going to face. It's no 2 opinions. I mean, I would face the same problem. Any panelist here, you would face the same problem. We all will face the problem. But when you're fighting the menace of corrupt money and black money, and it's a monumental fight, and if a monumental step is taken, there are going to be a few problems.
I love your analogy. When a
inconveniences
woman is having a child, she has an access to the best doctor for 9 months who advises her about what to do right through the procedure. Here, since you're using this rather colorful analogy, the person
India,
was
there are
taken
enough women
completely
who
by
deliver
surprise,
without
literally at the
having
point
the
of
best
birth.
advice also.
And you're almost ensuring that the birth turns out to be an abortion, or at least a stillbirth. This is why I think the analogy doesn't work. But let me bring in Sanjay
This
Jha.
birth will not be an abortion.
Sanjay, let me bring you in. Do you
This
believe...
birth will not be an abortion. It will be a labor pain.
Let me bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, the explanation given by Mr. Mittal for the fact that the indelible mark will not actually create the sort of problems you heard.
Karanji, I'm so happy that you asked Mahua to reconfirm and she could not. First she said, this is what he said. Then she said, at least this is the impression given. And that too to somebody who attended, not her. So, I mean, all these rumors I've been seeing on WhatsApp, all kind of things have been attributed without any truth in this. There is, as I said, there is inconvenience. But now that's all being so exaggerated with the soul. See, what is this entire thing about? What is the case? Is the case that this economy should persist with black money and corrupt money? If that is the case, then I have nothing to argue. Yes, then it will inconvenience people. But if there is an overriding feeling that a course correction is needed for the purpose of eliminating black money and corrupt money, then whenever you take any monumental step, it is bound to lead to inconvenience of people.
Except for the fact that the advanced planning was so poor, you've exaggerated the suffering rather than minimize it.
No, the element of surprise as well as secrecy would have certainly got lost if the measures which you are propounding or others have been suggesting would have been taken. Recalibration of ATMs. If the moment you had wanted to introduce another slot, you had to have a time period when it
I wasn't saying recalibrate in advance. I was saying create the 2000 note in the same size as the 1000, so you don't have to recalibrate. I was pointing out areas where advanced planning and thinking would have minimized the problem. The absence of that advanced planning means you're now hit with the problem, and every day you have to come up with new measures to alleviate the problem. That's what I'm talking about.
Karanji, you have to appreciate that all these advanced plannings would have had a window of 3 to 4 months, and this would have been long enough for people to understand, and the losing of the surprise element, this would have given them a window to come up with schemes and methods to convert the black money.
I will accept that is your argument, but for the sake of the audience, I will point out that practically every expert who's been asked says that there were several steps that could have been taken. They could have been taken well in advance. They would have minimized the pain by going through, and they would not have endangered secrecy at all. Many people conclude that in fact the failure to take those steps is why the government is being accused of having implemented irresponsibly. That's not a criticism of the demonetization, it is a criticism of the implementation.
If secrecy would have been compromised.
All right, but that's your position, others will disagree. Let's take a break at that point. When I come back, I want to turn to the politicization. Are the opposition now dancing on what they think is the political grave of the government and enjoying it? Is this politicization simply adding to the problem because the opposition wants to score partisan points at what could be the nation's cost? We'll be back in a moment's time. See you after the break.
No idea how this is going
Pinaki, let's stick to the politicization. We've covered the inefficiencies already. Let's not repeat ground that we covered in part one. Sudhanshu Mittal, the problem is you can't take much comfort from the fact that the opposition is internally divided, because your own ally, the Shiv Sena, and Sanjay Raut has confirmed this, will actually be marching with Mamata Banerjee tomorrow. Here's a member of the NDA, your oldest ally out of all your allies, march with you in government in Maharashtra, but marching with Mamata tomorrow from the outside of Parliament to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Isn't that embarrassing for you? This politicization is now fracturing your own ranks.
Karanji, one small rebuttal before I answer this question. Pinaki, the so-called misspelled 2000 rupiah is not written in Hindi. It is written in one of the languages recognized by the schedule in the Constitution.
Forgive me, sir, I've seen it. Under the
Hindi is written on the
Marathi,
note.
no, forgive me, sir. Under the Marathi, it says 2,000 rupiah. 2,000 rupiah. And that is the Hindi, and instead of do, it's become don. It's there on the note, I've seen it. Forgive me. But carry on with the other question I
Sir,
asked you.
2,000 रुपया मराठी में
और उसके नीचे हिंदी में भी लिखा है.
Secondly, now let's come down.
Sir, let's not quarrel over this. मैंने अपने आंखों से देखा है. But come to my question, because it's a more important one.
सर आपको मैं कह रहा हूँ ना
Your
वो मराठी
ally,
में
the
नहीं है,
Shiv
मराठी
Sena,
की
is marching
script
with
अलग है.
Mamata Banerjee.
See,
Isn't
मराठी
that
is a
embarrassing
different
for you?
script.
उसकी मुझे बताइएगा. Your ally, the Shiv Sena, your oldest ally.
Now, Karan ji, yeah. Can I answer, Karan ji?
Ji, please do, sir.
Yeah. I heard Mr. Sanjay Jha in the question of unity. See, you unite people for a cause, not for one-upmanship. There is a space in the opposition for leadership, and everybody is fighting against each other to take that space of leadership. So naturally, Mamta ji will walk alone or probably walk with one or two.
Forgive me. I asked you about your ally walking with Mamta. Why don't you answer that?
Now, allies, yeah. Now let me talk about Shiv Sena. Yes, if Shiv Sena would not have joined the march, it would have been much better. Certainly when an ally of the BJP or this government is protesting, it is not something which is, what do I say, it is neither expected nor it is, as far as the government or the BJP is concerned, is something we desire. But well, at the end of the day, they are a political party, and as a political party, they have taken a decision to decide which side of the issue they are.
And they're not on your side.
But certainly,
and
as
they're
far
not
as the
on your
government is
side.
concerned and the BJP is concerned,
are you embarrassed by the fact your oldest ally is not on your side?
Well, we would have liked them to be on our side, and certainly their not being on our side is not something which we would have appreciated.
All right.
I mean, certainly as an ally of this government, we would have expected them and desired that they be on our side. That's the truth of politics. They are an independent party.
I agree with you. You're putting up a very brave face in trying to explain and defend this rather indefensible and awkward and peculiar situation. You've given them the liberty to behave as free parties can, but normally allies don't break ranks and seek to embarrass each other. Here is a case where your allies deliberately choosing to do just that. But let's come, I hope to interrupt you, Mr. Mittal. You have a full minute and 15 seconds. Are you worried that the problem over demonetization could lead to GST not happening, and how can you ensure that it stops short of what Pinaki calls would be a calamity?
Karanji, you heard the Prime Minister. He said what he has done is what he believes is national interest. He's not done it for political reasons and political gains. And if there are political prices which have to be paid, he said he's willing to pay any price for it. Now, linking an act of national interest to the politics of GST, which Mr. Sanjay Jha was really suggesting, I think would be a disservice to this country. GST, the amendment has already taken place in terms of the constitution, and what will be presented before the parliament has already been decided by all the political parties together, because everybody is represented on the GST committee. And this has happened after a consensus in the GST committee. Now, if that consensus has to be defeated on the floor of the House because of the reason of this, I think that will be highly irresponsible. And as I said, as far as demonetization
we're out of
is
time.
concerned,
You
Mr.
need to
Modi
wind up.
clear.
We're out of time. I don't want to interrupt you, but you've got 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left.
In national interest, he has done it irrespective of the consequences. He says, I have taken up strong lobbies. People who are powerful, lobbies who are powerful, I have taken them head on for the sake of a surgery in the cancer of black money and cancer of corrupt money.
I have to stop you there, but your message is clear. You are echoing what Pinaki said. Do not extend the politics of demonetization to the point where GST suffers. And I hope many hear you and listen to you, because I think many would believe, whilst demonetization has been extremely badly handled in its implementation, we nonetheless still need GST, and in these circumstances we may need it even more than before. My thanks to all my guests for joining me. My apologies for the problem we had earlier with Mahua Moitra, and my apologies that we weren't able to get Ashish Khaitan either.